Aquarius, this might be a little bit of tough love, okay? I did like a channeling and a pre-shuffle for you. And I got, who am I ready to forgive? And I almost felt, I know we're dropping the F-bomb, okay? And I get that. I almost felt the kickback from you right there and then. Just be like, not the only F-bomb I'm going to drop, Gemma. And I get that as well. So I'm not saying you need to forgive somebody. You need to forgive somebody. You need to get over it. But there is something about what's at the root of what means the most to you now. And forgiveness. And then the other card I got, Sky Dancers, which is surrender. I know, forgiveness, surrender. It's not the easiest thing. And it's not always straightforward. And I'm going to say that it's not straightforward for you. This is complex. What lies behind what could be holding you back from something is complex. What lies behind the reason that you want it is complex. And what lies behind the reason that you may be reluctant to let go or reluctant to acknowledge a feeling, a restriction, a rut of thinking that you can't quite get out of. It's hard to put my finger on, but we will, okay? I've got some tarot cards in my hand. This is for December 2025, and yes, I am wearing my hideous, indoor only, wouldn't wear it even to get milk from the shop, cardigan. I feel like we've known each other long enough now, Aquarius, that you can deal with my frumpy, fuzzy cardigan. Because you're Aquarius as F. Can't say that on YouTube. So tempted, but can't say it. Right, let's have a couple of cards for this. Aquarius. Aquarius. Oh, lovely. Aquarius. So first half, looking at all of it. General reading. But it ain't general. It's kind of looking at the strands of what you need to... Oh, this is amazing, actually. Okay, we're full of major arcanas. So it's quite major, the first half. Second half, love life, okay? Love. Oh, my effing God. How are we going to do this without dropping the F-bomb? 3 out of 3 major arcanas. Okay. Now, turning point of the year, obviously, because December will take us into 2026. Powerful mega shifts for you. Some you will be keen and you'll be running and ready to jump. Others you'll be literally like clinging on. I've got a vision of you clinging on for some reason to a swimming pool. And so for some of you, this might have happened when you were little learning to swim, where they're just like, today we're going in the deep end. Or even that old-fashioned thing where they just used to throw you in and see if you could swim. I know, who does that? Let me know in the comments section. But it feels like you're in at the deep end, okay? And that is exciting because Aquariuses need to be excited. You need to be stimulated. You need something to look forward to. But at the same time, it's complicated and it's a lot. You get the Empress. Divine feminine archetype, strong as the 4 queens put together, this lady. So the Empress is always shown in a kind of mild, on the throne, not causing any trouble particularly. Don't be fooled by that. This is your divine feminine energy. This is your wisdom. And for some of you, this is complicated. There's a female relationship or a female line of ancestry. So it could be your mother, which is this is the mother of the tarot. Could be grandmother, could be a friend, but it's a powerful connection. For some of you, your strength comes from the female line of your family. You may have had people in your family that had like clairvoyance and things like that. And maybe they didn't, I don't know, like my mum has it. My mum has clairvoyance. She is, on paper, the least spiritual person ever. She's not into it, not into the tarot, not into the crystals, all that. And then she'll just say, God, I dreamt that so-and-so would happen. And then, do you know what? And then it did. And you just think, there's nothing you can say. So I'm thinking of the female line down to you means that you have some clairvoyance. I don't like calling it the gift, but you have the gift, all right? Because what else can I call it? Mercury's retrograde when I'm making these videos. My vocabulary is like blah, blah, spoonerisms. You have a gift, use it in the situation that you're in, but you have also been trapped by something to do with a relationship with divine feminine in your family. Could be with your mother, could be with your mother's line, and the way that maybe a secret or a problem or a trait has been, and I'm getting like a little production line of your ancestors, and they're all handing it along. Maybe it's guilt, because we've got who am I ready to forgive and surrender. Forgive is such a charged word, but it's definitely coming up for what somebody, for some of you actually, this is at the deep end, literally, for what they put you through. And that may be when you were younger, in your younger years, in your younger life, your teenage years, maybe the sort of pre-teenage years, those years of like 10, 11, very painful years often. There's a clash here, but there's also a bond. And it's interesting. And there's a bit of a mixture in there of real true bonding, but also a bit of shame and guilt all mixed together. So there's something here about, for some of you, feeling guilty if you have surpassed your parents, feeling guilty if you no longer fall in with the line that you had to fall in with when you were at home, and now you're independent and I suppose free, as far as any of us ever are. It feels like you need to let go and let God, I suppose, is what they say. Because the next card you've got, and I love this, but I don't get the normal happy-go-lucky skippity-doo-dah that I normally get from the Fool. I get a seriousness. Now, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's at dawn or dusk. I think it's dusk, because I think that's the moon, because it's not yellow. I know. You come here for the sharpness and the intelligence. This is not the normal, the Fool is tripping along and he's a teenager and he's like, oh, woohoo, I'm going to go off the edge of the cliff. And the dog's like, oh my God. And the Fool's like, yeah, come on, it's going to be great. This is more, I know that I have to make this leap, and I am just looking out over this vast horizon, and to jump out of my context that I was brought up in is a leap of faith, even if the context you were brought up in, and it will be the case for some of you, because I'm feeling a heaviness and I'm feeling a sadness, which is, it's like, God, this is really weird. I'm getting so many channels for you. I'm channeling your old room and your old house, and it's one particular house, and you know which house it is. And it's like if your family's moved out and they're neither old nor young, they've just moved out, and you go back to this house with all the marks on the carpet where the furniture used to be, when you get those like squares, and your old curtains are still up on the window. And what happened here? What happened here? Where did it all go? And there's something about being willing to leave a pattern behind, to leave the stains on the carpet and, the shadows where the furniture used to be, and finally shut the door Some of it may be very attached to one house that you lived in, and that the sadness still lives on, like in the bricks, in the fixtures, in the fittings, and it lives in your head. And it feels as if you know what you need to do. You know you need to take that leap of faith, but you know that you lose the comfort of living in an old pattern. A bit like the comfort of living in my old cardigan. You know, it's like one day, I'm going to have to admit it, get rid of it. You, Aquarius, need to, first of all, and it's the first thing I thought of when I got this card, you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself. It will vary from person to person if there are specifics around that, but you need to forgive yourself. It's not your fault. And that's a very, it's a very nothingy sentence. It's not your fault. But it's also a huge sentence, because it's a leap in understanding, and it's a shift, and it's the willingness to be somebody new. And I don't mean that in a kind of, you know, I'm going to go on an intermittent fasting diet in 2026, or I'm going to clean my house properly in 2026. I kind of mean it's probably can come under the category of self-love. I hate the word self-love, but you know what I mean, self-love. The next card you get is Strength. It's your opposite sign of Leo, which you can draw on. Strength is interesting because, by the way, look at my massive mug. How is that for a cup of tea? I know. Go and get yourself a cup of tea if you haven't already. And also, if this is resonating, please hype the video. I know it's a new button by YouTube. They've hidden it best they can. But it is, if you're on a phone, if you hit the like button, and then you go like that, like you're having a really bad day on Tinder, you will go past clip and all kinds of crap you don't need. There's a hype button. Hit that hype. You know yourself better than you think. Okay? You know yourself better than you think. Have more faith in yourself. It's not always easy to do. Some of you come from a family, not all your family, but certain part of your family where gaslighting is a thing. You know, like that home that you were in, it feels a bit, it feels a bit like you knew something, but everybody denied it, or everybody didn't want to hear it. You know, that kind of feeling. They weren't ready to hear it. And again, I'm not talking about blaming, I'm not talking about shaming, I'm just talking about claiming and acknowledging for yourself who you really are without the pressure of having to be somebody they wanted you to be. Such a lot of channeling for you. Such a lot of channeling for you. Let's just take, it's that one. That's interesting, isn't it? You get heart, home, compassion. There's a lot around this house, wherever it may be for you, but also around your own heart becoming your home. And compassion, surrender, forgiveness, these are big, I think they're abstract nouns, are they? They're also verbs if you do it, if you kind of make them happen. It feels as if you need to build a heart where your home used to be. So strange for you, Aquarius, but I'm totally onto it. I'm totally getting it for you. Let me know in the comments, but I can feel when it's hitting, and it's hitting. Okay. Take us to the bridge so we can look at love and relationships. But this runs through your love life and everything, okay? Yes. Six of Pentacles. Now the Six of Pentacles, often referred to as a card of, you know, you're going to get loads of money or whatever. Sometimes you do. Sometimes I tend to find the Six of Pentacles is like a small cash win. So it's not anything you've earned, but it's something that just might come through, like a rebate or a bonus or a gift. So that's nice. But on a deeper level, as we move into relationships and love and friendships and all that stuff, there's giving and there's receiving, and then there's like a bubble of energy in which two people, whether friends, lovers, you know, whatever, are practicing reciprocity, almost passing a ball of energy to each other. So this is not necessarily about financial things or material things. It's about energy exchanging. And that energy exchanging helping each person to grow. The opposite of this would be if only one person kept sort of throwing the ball to the other who didn't catch it, and then that person then has to grovel about finding it and picking it up again. You know, we don't want to be in that groveling about situation. Okay, I'm going to look with my love, Scarlet Rose Tarot. What do we need to know? Love and relationships for my lovely Aquarius AF. Oh, I quite like that. There will be an extended love reading, by the way, if this really hits home. And what I do for the extended reading is I get even more specific, and I do you and them side by side mirror reading. Oh, so glad you got that card. That card really wanted to come out, by the way. Okay, continuing the theme of major arcana, you've got the Hierophant. Card of commitment or not, you know, it can be marriage, it can be divorce, it can be for me, I feel like there is something is about to get more serious, and I quite like that. But if you are feeling commitment phobic or avoidant, and Aquarius, I've got my Venus in Aquarius, and I've got a lot of Aquarius friends, and Aquariuses need a lot of freedom in relationships. It's a strange thing with Aquarius. If you really want to get close to them, give them some space. You know, don't smother the Aquarius. So there's something here about what you really want, whether you want to take this to the next level, whether you want to take an existing connection to the next level, whether you are looking for someone for a serious relationship, whether you're willing to invest what needs to be invested on your side. I mean, you can't lean over and sweep someone else's side of the street. Well, you can, but you're going to pull something and it's going to be really quite arduous and boring. There's a little bit of a power dynamic in a connection that you have. It's weird. I've got the Four of Pentacles, which is who blinks first, keeping things to yourself, playing your cards close to your chest. So you might be dealing with somebody who is doing that, but you also may be doing that yourself. It could be both of you, because I'm feeling like there is some reticence on your part, that you're not feeling that you can take that leap in a way that you might want to. Then, chicka chicka, 10 of Cups. There's a whole lot of potential here. 10 of Cups is like, you know, it's Mars in Pisces. I always think of it as if someone gets a rainbow and just hits it with a meteor and it goes psh, and it's, you know, giggles and unicorns and glitter and rainbows and bits and bobs and loveliness, and you put the phone down first and God, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. You know, all that sort of lovely, lovey-dovey stuff. It can be limerence as well. So it can be that real crazy, fascinated stage that you can have with somebody where you idolize them and they idealize you. But it's coming up with cards of holding back, like the Four of Pentacles and like the Hierophant, where it's looking at, have we got the foundation here for commitment? Do we want to build that foundation? And I feel like you're still at that level, even if you've been with this person forever, 5 minutes, whatever. You're at this level of being at the bottom of building a house, if the house was a house of love, okay? And it's a serious business. You've got to plow a lot into the foundations. You've got to build a good roof. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a project. And it's whether you are both here, turning up with your hard hat on, to work at the project that would be your relationship, to build something strong. And speaking of strength, dear Aquarians, here is strength again. Some of you may be dealing with a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sag, but for others of you, it's about keeping your identity while losing maybe your mind over somebody, or just feeling a real sense of attraction, you know, chemistry. There's a lot of kind of chemistry, and there's a little bit of intrigue, and those things mixed together, a bit of mystery, they can really get an Aquarius going. And I like this. And I feel like there's somebody here as well that you can banter with that's on a similar wavelength. They're not the same as you. On paper, you may be very different, but there's a frequency and a wavelength that you share, which I feel like you haven't maybe had before, and that you need to be interested in a relationship. Anyone who gets involved with an Aquarius needs to keep them interested. We all know that. Oh, we like that. Okay. We get the Three of Swords. So there is something here tied in with what we were talking about in the beginning, with the feminine line of your family, with forgiveness, with shame, with a difficult load that you've had to carry for a long time. And as they say in A Course of Miracles, love brings up anything unlike itself to be healed. This connection will do that. It will bring up anything that needs to be healed. And that's quite, that is a lot. That is a big deal. That's a lot to take on. The Knight of Swords. I quite like that you have this. I feel like there is a swift exchange of views coming. You're good at talking. This could even be a mild argument, a debate, mixed in with banter, but it's an exchange of views between you and this person, and it might be the time for either of you to confess the difficulties you've been having, to confess what you've been feeling about things. And I'm not talking about one of you wants to have a big talk and the other one doesn't. I'm talking about this exchange of views with precision and truth, and just being really candid and really just saying, this is what I'm about. This is how I'm feeling about this. This is what I know. And then we get the Emperor, which I'm really loving, because we've already got you as the Empress. And the Emperor is now the father. The Emperor is the husband of the Empress, the king and the queen. Divine masculine energy comes in now. And of course, we ask the question, what about the father as well? Because I always ask that question when the Emperor comes up. It's important. But when you get the Emperor and the Empress together in a reading, that is a big deal. It doesn't always mean, oh my God, this is going to be the best relationship. It's going to be so easy. It normally means, Christ, this is difficult, but it's good. So this is a challenge for you, Aquarius. This is a challenge. And this idea of forgiveness and surrender and compassion for yourself, there's a lot to do with bringing down the walls you have around your heart, which I can totally understand why they're there, but you've come to a point now where it's too painful to stay the same. You will miss opportunities if you keep them up. So the universe is invested through relationship, through friends, through experiences, and through downloads as well, for you to have the courage to take them down just brick by brick, brick by brick. Aquarius, that's a deep reading. I'm going to go and do the extended you and them side by side reading. The link for that will be in the description box below this video. Okay, get yourself another drink. I'll see you on the other side. Namaste.